So yeah, so what happens is like earlier, right?
हाँ,
Earlier hiring used to happen face to face. Okay.
correct, correct.
So
The
the
pandemic has changed the
yeah,
entirety
the
of this
pandemic has
recruitment
changed a lot
process.
of things.
Yeah. Hi, and welcome to another episode of McLaren Cast on McLaren Academy Show. I'm your host Ashwari Chandra, and in this episode, we have someone very special with us, Vishal Singh Bisht, who is a front-end developer in Amazon. So, hi Vishal, welcome to the show.
Hi, Ashwar. Thanks for calling me. So yeah, so
So,
I'm
how about we start with an introduction?
yeah. So let me start a little bit about myself. So I have been working in the software development industry for now more than 5 years, and yeah, so I started with small startups, and eventually I moved to Amazon. Uh, in the early phase of my career, I used to work as an intern. I got a placement through college itself, and from there, it was a journey step by step, and lots of learning, lots of things I had to learn in the process, lots of things I thought I shouldn't have done. So yeah, it was like a good journey till now, and I was hoping to share this with my friend. So yeah.
Absolutely. There's a lot of valuables for our guests. So stay tuned to our episode and let's continue with our podcast.
Yeah.
So Vishal, how about we start कि what is front end development? Basically हम लोग बहुत सुनते हैं कि front end developer, back end developer. तो basically front end developer होता क्या है, उसका रोल क्या है, अगर आप आसान भाषा में समझा पाए हम सबको.
So, if you see front-end developer, anything which you see in the website, in anything which is in the view side, okay, कुछ भी आपको जो दिख रहा है वेबसाइट में, जो आप देख पा रहे हैं, जिससे आप इंटरेक्ट कर पा रहे हैं, anything which you are able to interact to, so that visible part is the front-end part. So आजकल currently there is a lot of job requirement in front-end industries also. Uh, Earlier there was huge amount of engineers used to become only back-end developers, but now the case is a little bit different. People are also opting for front-end engineering. People who like developing, things which is visible. It is for the customers. The UI stuff. UI means the interactive part.
तो बेसिकली जो वेबसाइट और जो एप्लीकेशन का इंटरफेस जिसको हम यूज करते हैं वो आप डेवलप करते हैं.
Yes.
अच्छा.
So जो भी आप देख पा रहे हो,
हम्म.
whichever you can see, which are able to see, that all is front-end engineering. So yeah. So coming to that. I must say like the journey to front-end engineering, I hadn't thought this so I would be becoming a front-end engineer in the first place. So हुआ ऐसा था कि in the early stages of my college life, I was more into this HTML, CSS, JavaScript part. So these are important aspects of front-end engineering. Most of you must be knowing it. So I used to do a lot of things here and there, projects in the college, for the college, and eventually after I got an internship through my college, uh, I landed in an intern phase where I was deciding what to pursue, what not to pursue. And in the early stages of my career only, I found a startup, a very small startup, and yeah, so the number of people in the startup were around, just you can imagine, like 15 to 20 people. So from that startup, I worked in front-end technologies, and then eventually I moved to companies like a mid-sized company, you can say, people around 500 to 1,000 employees, and then eventually to Amazon. Like now, Amazon is like a giant. So yeah, that was like a
तो
brief
इन
introduction.
अगर आसान भाषा में बोले कि अगर अमेजोन में कोई बग आ रहा है आपके इंटरफेस में तो हम आपसे बात कर सकते हैं.
So yeah, you cannot assume like that. So the thing is, Amazon is a MNC, okay?
Hmm.
So there are a lot of teams within Amazon,
Hmm.
a lot of small teams, a lot of big teams, and each teams have a part of their own. For example, there is a Prime Video team which works on Prime Video only. They are not responsible for anything in the website part. जो Amazon.in वाला जहाँ आप देखते हो, जहाँ पर you can buy things and all. So each small, there are small startups within Amazon itself. So all of them are different.
सो अच्छा ये बताइए जैसे कि आपने अपने लाइफ में से अपने बताया कि बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप्स में अपने काम किया, मिड साइज कंपनी में काम किया, एमएनसीज में काम किया, तो जो हमारे ऑडियंस ऐसे हैं जो एकदम फ्रेशर हैं जिन्हें नई तरह से कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर एंटर करना है, जो अभी कॉलेज में है, तो वो किस माइंडसेट से जाएं, मतलब वो क्या माइंडसेट होता है रिक्रूटर्स का, वो किस माइंडसेट से तैयारी करें कि उन्हें जॉब मिले, तो उसके बारे में क्या बोलना चाहेंगे.
So, firstly, like I want to say, in the starting, जो भी इंसान अभी, this is for the people who are currently in college or who has just passed college. Okay, so जो भी अभी college में है, so first and foremost requirement is you should be doing what you like to do. So, for example, अभी आप engineering कर रहे हो, right? So, engineering में आपका जो जो भी आपका major है, right? जो भी आपका course main course है, so you should have a liking towards it. एंड आप परस्यू करो उस चीज़ को. एंड जैसे कि मैंने बताया कि मेरे को फ्रंट एंड में ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट था, तो मैंने फ्रंट एंड ही पढ़ना स्टार्ट कर दिया. एंड उसके थ्रू ही मेरे को इंटर्नशिप भी लगी थी. ओके, एंड मैंने इंटर्नशिप भी करी, उसमें मेरे को और एक्सपीरियंस मिला. तो होता क्या है कि स्टार्टिंग में जब आप एक नॉर्मल से, सो आई सॉरी आई फॉरगॉट टू मेंशन दैट आई एम नॉट फ्रॉम एनी IIT और NIT. सो आई एम फ्रॉम अ नॉर्मल कॉलेज फ्रॉम नोएडा itself. And so there are opportunities, of course there are a lot of, because the market is growing, everything is growing, right? But the opportunities are limited for not colleges which are not IITs and NITs, right? They are limited colleges because there are a lot of colleges then. Okay, so अब उसमें क्या होता है कि you have to be prepared on yourself. तो एक तो होता है कि कॉलेज आपको सपोर्ट करता है which is always there, बट एक पार्ट होता है कि आपको अपने तरफ से पूरा 100% you have to give, right? So this, I just want to say one thing ki just do one justice to yourself, is that while you are in the college phase, right? So आप make sure करो कि अगर आप इंजीनियर हो and you are in the computer industry, computer science industry, right? तो आप ये make sure करो कि आपका जो algorithm और data structure है वो strong रहे. मतलब at least you should have that basics, okay? The basics of data structure and algorithm should be there. So अगर आपके पास वो चीज़ रहेगी, if you have that thing, right? So half of the journey, half of the task has already been fulfilled. So होता क्या है कि mostly the recruiters, even giants like Google, Facebook, right? So I have been interviewing with Facebook also at one point of time. So होता क्या है कि the main focus they give on freshers, like, so it's only on DS and Algo, and because that tests कि आपका आप different कैसे सोच पा रहे हो, okay? Different scenarios में आप कैसे सोच पा रहे हो. So वो चीज़ एक important है ना? And आई एम नॉट प्रमोटिंग एनीथिंग, बट मेरे को लीड कोड पसंद है. सो इफ एनीवन वाज अज्यूमिंग लाइक व्हाट शुड वी डू, सो आई शुड से लाइक स्टार्ट विद लीड कोड. लीड कोड इज प्रीटी गुड, एंड या वहाँ से लर्निंग स्टार्ट करो. सो अपना यू जस्ट कंप्लीट योर पार्ट विच इज लर्निंग DSNL. ओके, यू बी स्ट्रॉन्ग इन दैट, बाकी द रेस्ट विल हैपन. ओके, द रेस्ट अपॉर्चुनिटीज विल कम.
तो ये तो हो गई हमारे लर्निंग और रिक्रूटमेंट की बात. अगर हम बात करें, क्योंकि देखिए इतनी बड़ी पॉपुलेशन है, इतना ज़्यादा कंपटीशन है, तो हाउ टू प्रिपेयर योर रेज्यूमे और हाउ टू प्रिपेयर योरसेल्फ टू स्टैंड आउट ऑफ द क्राउड. आई मीन व्हाट शुड वी डू इन दिस केस?
गुड पॉइंट. सो बेसिकली ये जो प्रोसेस, लाइक व्हाटएवर Ashwar told, right? So this process actually takes time. Okay, so standing out of the equation, if you are from a normal college, right? If you are from IIT and NIT, you already have that leverage. Okay, you have utilized that leverage while you were in your school time. But now, if you are in a normal college, so you have to get something in your resume or stand your resume out, right? So होता क्या है? For me, I'll speak about myself. तो मेरे को it's more than 5 years now, and I have been working with Amazon now close to 3 years now. It would be 3 years in the next coming, just in the February. And होता क्या कि स्टार्टिंग में आई डोंट यूज टू गेट राइट कॉल्स लाइक फ्रॉम दीज बिग कंपनीज, neither from Google nor from Facebook or from Amazon, right? So starting में you have to start from whatever you can get, right?
So when it comes to working in a startup or working in a corporate culture, what do you see the difference between both the working cultures?
Yeah, so जैसा कि in the early phase of my career, तो I was working in a startup only. तो स्टार्टअप में there were around, as I told, right, there was around 10 to 20 people. अब उसमें क्या होता है, in a startup what happens is like because there are very less people, right? So manage करने के लिए लोग limited होते हैं. So there would be one stand up, there would be one main meeting. So उसी main meeting में सब लोग होंगे. Okay, even your CEO, CTO. Okay, and उस एक meeting, अब you will also be involved everywhere in any meeting, right? Be it a very senior manager, very experienced developer. So होता क्या है कि आपको बहुत learning मिलती है स्टार्टअप में. अब you get to listen everyone in your company, आप सामने सामने, and even the reachability is very easy. Like the CEO is just sitting in just next to you, maybe in the same floor. Okay, so that is what in a startup you learn a lot of things very quickly. एक चीज very important thing I want to tell, Whenever you are in a company, these are for everyone, right? So wherever you are in a company or working anywhere, एक चीज important होती है कि आप अपना you develop your community. So आप जैसे आपके employees हैं, ये senior employees हैं, okay? So उनसे आप community create करो. होता है क्या है कि they will help you because you have worked on a common project, right?
हाँ.
So they will help you in some future aspect, right? So आपको कहीं रेफर करने के काम हो सकता है. So ये चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है मेंटेन करनी, टू मेंटेन अ गुड कम्युनिटी. एंड ऑफ कोर्स देखिए अपस्किलिंग वाली बात तो मैंने करी थी कि फोकस ऑन योर डीएसएल को, एंड जो वर्क आप कर रहे हो ऑफिस में उस पे आप ट्रूथ रहो बस. दीज आर टू थिंग्स आर देयर. सो इन स्टार्टअप एज यू टोल्ड, राइट, स्टार्टअप में दे आर स्मॉल पीपल्स, राइट. नाउ आफ्टर 1 year आई मूव टू अ मिड साइज कंपनी. So BlackBuck, it's just like you can say Uber for trucks, right? So mid-size company में क्या था? The employees now have been moved from, like I was working for around 30-40 people. Now I moved to industry where there were around 1,000 people, right? Now in 1,000 people, अब difference क्या लगा मेरे को? First thing is like working style and all थोड़ा सा different होता है. आपको हर चीज there should be a process to everything. Like in startup you can just go out to your manager, if you know pitch an idea. अगर आपको एक आइडिया पिच करना है आप सीधे जाकर बात कर सकते हैं. बट इन मिड साइज कंपनी, फ्रॉम मिड साइज कंपनी आपको एक प्रोसेस चाहिए होता है किसी चीज के लिए. इफ यू आर डूइंग एनीथिंग, राइट, आप कोई भी काम भी कर रहे हो अपने डिवीजन का, सो दैट शुड आल्सो बी हैविंग अ प्रोसेस. सबका एक डिफरेंट मैनेजर होता है. सो दैट्स हाउ थिंग्स इंक्रीजेस, राइट. सो उसके बाद एज आई टोल्ड करंटली मैं जहाँ वर्क कर रहा हूँ, सो उसके बाद आई मूव टू Amazon. This was shortly before the pandemic time. 2020 beginning में I moved to Amazon. So the movement from a startup to journey to an Amazon company like Amazon. So it didn't come in one go for me. As I'll say, right, I was not from a grade college like IIT and NIT, but it happened eventually. So one thing is that focus should always be there. आपका जो एम होना चाहिए ना, जो एम शुड बी इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू ऑलवेज, कि दिस इज योर एम, दिस इज व्हाट यू शुड डू, एंड आपके हाथ में व्हाटएवर इज इन योर हैंड, राइट, दैट इज लाइक यू आर लर्निंग इन डीएसएल को, व्हाटएवर यू आर डूइंग इन योर कंपनी, जस्ट बी ट्रू टू दैट. ओके, दीज टू थिंग्स ऑलवेज शुड बी देयर. अब इफ यू हैव डन दिस पार्ट, राइट, योर रिज्यूमे विल स्पीक फॉर इटसेल्फ. It will develop on its own. आप community maintain करते रहो. बस just maintain your community, do all these things. I think anyone can work anywhere. That's just
Absolutely, very good point. I mean, I will also like to say कि आपके कॉलेज ये डिफाइन नहीं करता कि आप कितने सक्सेसफुल होने वाले हैं लाइफ में. आपका पाथ डिफाइन करता है कि आप कितने ज़्यादा सक्सेस ओरिएंटेड है, कितना मेहनत कर रहे हैं अपने आप को सक्सेसफुल बनाने के लिए. तो कॉलेज इज जस्ट अ स्मॉल पार्ट ऑफ योर लाइफ, बट द मेन थिंग इज कि आप कैसे नेटवर्क कर रहे हैं, कैसे आप अपने कंपनीज चेंज कर रहे हैं, कैसे अपने आप को अपग्रेड कर रहे हैं, अपस्किल कर रहे हैं, वो आपको डिफाइन करने वाला है. तो इस बात से हम नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे आते हैं कि जैसे मान लो आपको स्विच करना है, तो स्विच करने के दौरान क्या माइंडसेट रहना चाहिए कि इंसान का, किस तरह से वो अपने आप को तैयार करे, किस तरह से वो कंपनी को चूज करे, तो इसके बारे में क्या बोलना चाहेंगे?
सो थोड़े से मिक्स्ड व्यूज है मेरे इसमें. सो कंपनी को चूज पहले कैसे करना चाहिए? So in an early phase, right, the most important thing a developer or engineer should look at is like ki how much of the work you're going to do, right, would be helpful in your journey. Okay. Saying that, I'm not saying that any work is wrong for you, right, but आपका interest, what you're interested towards, right, that should be more important, I can say, than the compensation part, or you can say the name of the company. Okay. The work comes first, because starting mein if you learn, you will grow quickly. Okay. Correct. This is important. Okay, and the other thing which you will see, like as a recruiter point of view, I can say. So because I have interacted with a lot of recruiters and I have been in a lot of interviews before. Okay. So for recruiter point out, your resume, whatever you've written in your resume, you should be able to justify that. Okay. Don't write anything extra. It's okay to have a half-page resume also. Okay. Just write what is precise to it, what you actually know, and what you have done. Okay. The precise it is, the better it is. You don't need to write 2-3 pages. That doesn't help. That doesn't help at all. Okay. Just write everything precise, and that's enough. I think maintain the community and reach out. Don't stop. When if you have a goal of moving to some place and you are not settled, right, you are learning in your current situation, but don't stop yourself from looking out. That's just an example I can say. But to this contrary, I think I'll say something. I think later on we'll have that conversation also. like what were the things which I thought I should have avoided. So maybe we can come.
We'll come to that part. But for now, I mean, as your profile, I mean, you have already hired a lot of people for your different companies, for different startups. So जब आप किसी को hire करते हैं तो फिर आपके क्या mind में रहता है, मतलब वो as a recruiter?
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, so I had been part of some recruitment also in my previous organizations and all. So for me as a engineer, right, if I want to recruit someone, I will see in the interview process also. So there are two aspects to an interview. Okay, one aspect is that the person is technically sound.
Correct.
That is of course important. Right?
Absolutely.
And the other aspect is that how much that person wants to learn. Okay, if that person is like, you know, if I've asked him a question and he's, you know, he's able to answer it, but he's, you know, he's not kind of thinking out loud, or he's not thinking out in different directions. He's just limited to one direction, and he's
Out of the box.
he should be
perception.
thinking out of the box. Perception is not there, and he's not able to answer the question. So for me, that is something the engineer should try to, you know, express himself more. That's what I will say. So if he is not feeling like, okay, this question is something I'm not comfortable with, and I have this perception, okay, he should think out loud. Anything which is in your mind, you should be having directly to the engineer, the interviewer. Okay. So उससे क्या होता है? There is a very direct connection which happens between the interviewer and the interviewer, and that is very good. Okay. So if you have a good connection, okay, and you are able to, you know, cross the 60% answers you are able to cross, and you are confident enough in your answers. So yeah, one more important thing is, for example, there is very less interviews in which you know everything, right? There
Correct,
should be
correct.
some things which you might not be knowing.
Absolutely.
Just say no to it. It's fine. It's okay to, you know, not know anything. But
Yeah, rather than saying unambiguous answers, it's
Yes.
better to say no and
yes,
move on to the next
yes. So it's better to say no, and don't stick to, okay, I think that, I assume that. It's fine to say no. That's what.
question. Okay. So, have you ever had a chance? I mean, you had hired so many people. So, was there any funny incident that you encountered while hiring someone or something? You know, like would like to share with us?
So yeah, so what happens is like earlier, right?
Huh.
Earlier hiring used to happen face to face. Okay.
Correct.
So
The pandemic has changed the entirety
the
of this
pandemic has
recruitment
changed a lot
process.
of things.
Yeah.
Also, there are some rounds which happens online, right? So so it's not a funny case, but I remember like while I was doing interview for one person in my previous company, I had prepared the questions out of you know, searching a little bit on the you know, from some sites, and whatever I asked the question to that person, right, he was able to answer exactly how it was written in the online portals.
Okay.
So it was similar in the sense of the variable name also. So I can say like, okay, you have must have, you know, read that portal, you know, read that post or something, but each and everything was same. And when I asked him, okay, I'm saying like, okay, it's fine, maybe he might have, you know, learned it by heart, but then I asked him to explain that. He just disconnected his internet, and then he came out after some time saying that my light was not there. So you can assume like, and then
I mean, of
I
course.
tried to
हाँ, जो
ask
वहाँ
him
बैठा
again.
है इतने साल के एक्सपीरियंस के साथ बैठा है तो उसे इन सब चीज़ों के बारे में पता होता है
Yes, yes.
और आप बेसिकली उन्हीं चीज़ों को पे आंसर करें जो आपको एक्चुअली आता है बजाय कि आप इतना आउटस्मार्ट करने की कोशिश करें पोर्टल खोल के बैठे हैं आई मीन दीस थिंग्स आर एक्चुअली वेरी
That thing will
ऑब्वियस
not work.
हाँ हाँ
Basically that is not good also, I think, because आप you know, you're trying to cross a bar after which the survival would be difficult. So आप कंपनी में enter कर लोगे, I think. उसके बाद you have to deal with things, right? So interview
Actually-
is like the bar. So
और उस समय अगर आपका परफॉर्मेंस खराब रहा तो आपके रिज्यूमे से लेकर नेटवर्किंग तक सब कुछ खराब हो जाएगी उस कंपनी के थ्रू सो एग्जैक्टली सही बात तो अच्छा अब हम when it comes to IT sector, I mean, there were a lot of challenges right now. So how, you know, what would you say about surviving in a company? I mean, there are many challenges. So what have you encountered in your journey?
okay. So keeping the market turbulence aside, so survival in a company. So you can say when you cross or you pass an interview, right? You get an offer. You get your offer, and then you start your journey in your company. Okay. The first 2 to 3 months anywhere is the ramping up time. Okay. In some company it might be 15 days. if it is a fast culture. In some companies it might be 3 months.
Hmm.
So that this ramping up time is pretty critical to you. uh, you should do justice to that. You shouldn't relax that okay, now I have crossed the interview. My part of becoming an engineer is now complete. I'll be able to survive in the in the company, but that is not true basically. So currently the competition is that much that the employees are within the company also, right? You have to, there is always an 6 month or an year review cycle also. And there is, if you are not doing justice to your work, somewhere it would be pointed out in your reviews and something, right? And because of that, your promotions, or you can say you can
Incentives and all.
your incentive might get hurt. And then you might realize after some point of time, okay, I did cross my interviews and did come to the company, but now I'm struggling. So this, so I think the basic thing to avoid this is like, you have to work. So there is no alternative to it. You have to work, you have to come to office. And I'm okay, like you can take leaves, or you can take leaves of properly, like 15-20 days or a month, it's fine. But whenever you're working, you should be working. That's the thing.
हाँ.
So that is important.
एक्चुअली मतलब कई सारे बिजनेसेस में काम करने के बाद और कई सारे जॉब्स करने के बाद मेरा भी एक परसेप्शन, मतलब मैंने देखा लोगों का कि जो ऑनबोर्डिंग टाइम होता है लोग उसे हनीमून पीरियड मान लेते हैं, और दैट इज अ पीरियड दैट कि दे एंजॉय अ लॉट, दे मूव आउट एंड दे गो आउट एंड दे नेटवर्क एंड ऑल, बट अपस्किलिंग वाला पार्ट तो भूल ही आता है अल्टीमेटली. और ये जो आप पार्ट भूल रहे हैं, ये पार्ट का इम्पैक्ट आने वाले साल 1.5 साल में पूरा पड़ेगा आपके ऊपर. तो ये जनरल परसेप्शन हमने देखा है लोगों के मन में बैठ जाता है इस तरह से.
I'll just say one simple thing, okay? So होता क्या है कि now when I'm talking about these things, right? I'm saying you should upskill your expertise, and then you have to work in your company. So people must be thinking like, if it is just work, and then where is the fun part? So that's why people try to escape from that, and when they come to a company, they go out. I'm saying it's perfectly fine to do these things, okay? It's perfectly fine to have fun. You go out and do travels. Everything is fine. Most important thing is your peers, your level up, right? Should be aware that from these times you are aware. Okay, you should be true to your peers also. So that is very important. If your manager or your skip level knows, right, ki, okay, this person is currently outside, okay, and I'm not supposed to give him work and all, that is fine. That is not what is wrong in an industry is lying about things. For example, I am out in some place. Everything is now online, right? Online, right? Most of the thing, I can say. So I'm outside and I'm working also side by side. I'm doing some other things also. So that is something like you're not, to
Being
toward
honest to your
yourself also,
part.
and
Huh.
also to the company, right? So that is something you should avoid. But the fun part, of course, you should do. That is because then there is no life, right? So you have to.
करेक्ट करेक्ट. सो आई मीन अभी तो हमने बहुत सारी बात कर ली है चीज़ों के बारे में, कॉर्पोरेट कल्चर्स के बारे में. हाउ अबाउट your failure? I mean, everyone has their own part of the failures and their own challenges. So what would you say about your failures or challenges that you faced in your life, in your career?
Yeah, so in the sums of challenges, right, I can say. So challenges mein what happens is like the first part of the challenge was I was unaware of how to prepare for things. Currently, I think there are a lot of things to upskill yourself. There are a lot of good YouTube channels, learning, making people understand and learn what to do. Okay, the podcasts like these will make you understand, okay, what's the next step you should do. So in the early phases, I was little bit unaware, and I used to lag some time there. So that was one thing I can say. Apart from that, the thing which I pointed, right, in my early phases, I used to party a lot. So that was one thing, and I did tend to do that more than required, which was not required, right? I should have balanced both of the things.
ये होता है जॉब लगते ही इंसान सबसे पहले पार्टीज में आता है, पब्स में आता है, क्लब्स में आता है, तो ये तो जनरली हाँ.
So that is a very common culture you will see across all the
हाँ.
places you will have companies and all. But yeah, I should say a
बट यू
little.
नो वेयर यू हैव टू स्टॉप, राइट? आई मीन एक टाइम के बाद आपको अपने आप को वापस ट्रैक पे लाना होगा.
Yes.
आप कर सकते हैं सारी चीज़ों को एक्सपीरियंस,
हाँ.
बट एक टाइम के बाद चीज़ें
Yes.
सही होनी
So अगर आपको कॉन्शियस में है कि दैट्स व्हाट आई टोल्ड अर्लियर, राइट, कि अगर आपको
हम्म.
कॉन्शियस में क्लियर है कि यू शुड बी गोइंग एट सम प्लेस
हम्म.
आफ्टर सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, अगर वो चीज क्लियर है तो आई थिंक एवरीथिंग इज ओके, एवरीथिंग इज फाइन, यू शुड
हम्म.
पार्टी एंड
हम्म.
ऑल. सो या आई थिंक आई वेस्टेड लिटिल बिट ऑफ टाइम देयर,
हम्म.
but overall it is good.
Hmm.
It's fine.
So now that we have covered almost all the aspects of IT sector, so let's conclude this podcast with a message to the audience that you would like to give to our audience. Yeah.
Yeah. So firstly, for all the people who are students and just becoming a freshers, right, and working in new industries, so for them, only thing you should be caring about is upscaling your skill, and you should just relax, party and everything, but just upscale your skills and be true to yourself. Okay. For people who have been experienced, so there is something called engineers and there is something called good engineers. Okay. So try to be more abstract, more go into more fundamentals. Try to achieve that level of engineering where you within yourself know that okay, I am aware of these facts, I am aware of my work, and now I'm confident enough of it. Okay. So this should be there. I think all things are enough.
Okay, so it was very nice talking to you, Vishal. I mean, we covered, it was all a podcast full of values for our audience, and thank you so much for coming in person to our office and giving us the valuable time. So guys, there's a important link for you. If you want to upskill yourself, you can go out and check out Aclaron Academy, where you can find out different courses on personality and business. So make sure to check out the link, and thank you so much, Vishal, for coming to the podcast. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. Okay, bye, take care.